Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of our JSE Investment Challenge Q&A. Today we have two special guests, part of the university competition. We've got Joshua and Daniel Prince. Welcome to today's session, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rolf.
Yeah, so firstly I'd like to say congratulations, guys. You did exceptionally well. Blew the lights out when it comes to the first month's competition, a total of around 45% within 1 month, while the JSE itself was probably doing -2, somewhere around there in the first 1 month. So well done to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Rolf.
Yeah, so I've been actually monitoring you guys quite a bit, even this week. I see that you've got hot on your heels. You've got the hedgehog traders that are behind you. And they seem to be catching you up on the scoreboard. So I'm sure it must be interesting times to be up at the top and trying to hold that position of number one. So Dan,
sorry.
No problem. And Josh, maybe to start off with you, just to get, could you tell us a little bit more about your team and so that we can get to know you guys as FinChat representatives?
Yeah, so our team consists of my brother, myself, and we entered the JSE Challenge with the sole purpose of just learning. I've been interested in finance since I was about 16 years old, when I was first introduced into the JSE Challenge, back when it was still called the Liberty Challenge, I think. And yeah, so my brother and I decided to start this year. So that he can learn a bit more about finance and how the markets work, as he's not in that sector.
No, that's great. And tell me what both of you guys are studying at the University of Pretoria, where you are. Go ahead, Daniel.
So I'm a second year medicine student at the University of Pretoria. Just studying to become a doctor.
Okay, I mean, during this time, actually, I mean, it's a critical skill to obviously have, and to those that are out there that are in the medical field, we just say and salute you and well done for the hard work that you guys are currently doing. Over to you, Josh. What are you studying?
So I finished my BCom in accounting science last year, and I'm currently studying my postgraduate diploma in accounting. So yeah, finishing up to start working next year as an article clerk.
No, that's lovely. Okay, so what I really wanted to do today was to try and really pick your brains around what is it that you guys are doing, because clearly there's something that you're doing that is extremely successful. Currently, since Thursday, when you guys, that was the announcement, you had around 45%. Today, you're at 62%. So while the market has only probably done 1% since the start of the game, you guys have been able to do 62% return. So could you maybe, Joshua, just explain to us how your day goes and the process you take to actually place trades, and what do you look for? What do you do? Could you just take us through that?
So we take quite a passive approach. We visit our portfolio maybe once a week. Mostly we spend most of our time just thinking of what the market will do, taking a big macroeconomic approach, especially in these scary times with COVID-19. I think you have to think a bit more behavioral than fundamental or effective market. So yeah, we're just thinking of what we think people are thinking, and just following the money in that way. If we think money is getting pulled out of a certain industry, we short that market. If we think money is going to get put into a certain industry or a certain company, we long that market. So yeah, that's our basic strategy.
Fantastic, Joshua. So I see there's questions already starting to come, and I'd like to encourage everyone that's listening to us to please do place your questions out there on the chat forum, so that we're able to try and ask as many questions here to our two special guests. And for those of you that are actually joining us and have not registered for the Investment Challenge game, we would like to encourage you to go to our website, which is university.jsc.co.za. It is on the scroller, university.jse.co.za, and it's not too late to even go and actually register. So you can go and register. You need to register with at least 2 people in your team. It must be from the same university. And while we're in lockdown, you guys can go ahead and actually start learning to trade on the stock market. I think it's a great initiative. And as you can see, our 2 guests are taking great advantage of that. I'd like to ask you, Daniel, so how have you found during lockdown, spending more time actually in the game itself?
Of course, during the lockdown, we have much more time to think about what we do and going forward. I think mostly for me, it's just been a time to catch up on my study work and working out forwards. But yeah, me and my brother have thought about what we're doing on the challenge much more now. But I think how we handle the situation and the technical approach that my brother is taking is working out perfect for us. So yeah.
Okay, and I heard Joshua, you talk about shorting the market, and there is on our platform an opportunity for you to be able to see that there's 3 different products that you could use. It's normal shares, it's warrants, and single stock futures. And you talked about shorting. So maybe to explain to those that are listening for the first time, never really done shorting before, what do you mean by shorting the market?
Okay, so basically there are 2 investment strategies that we can take. And yes, you mentioned the 3 products that we have at our disposal to make these positions. So the first position is what most people would know is the long position, where you buy low and sell high. So you buy the share before you sell it. The shorting position is the opposite of that. It's by betting that the certain share or market is going to go down, lose some of its value. So you sell the share first, and then you at a high value, and then you buy it back at a lower value. And there are a couple of instruments that you could use to short a market. And one of those that you gave to our disposal to use is the single stock future, which is a derivative or an instrument to facilitate shorting the market. The future is a sort of is a contract that you take out with a counterparty or trade with a counterparty that matures at a certain date in the future. But basically, you can use that instrument to short the market and sell it. So that if you're on the game, you can see if you go on futures, say you want to short the financial industry and you want to short a bank, you choose a bank and you see, okay, you have a limited amount of futures that you could sell, and then you can pick a number that you want to sell and sell it first. And when you see the market's going down, when you think it's at the bottom, you can just buy it back. And so you sell it first, send out 100 Rand, buy it back at 10 Rand, you make $90.
Okay, fantastic. And then obviously it's the important part, I suppose, of using these geared instruments is the fact that there's a lot of gearing. So while you are actually taking those positions, it's geared like 3 times over on this platform. And therefore, should a price go up by 1%, you've got it actually going up by a lot more just because of the fact of it that it's geared. And so therefore, I've seen that you guys have really been using this to great effect. How do you go about actually analyzing which companies to go and buy? I know you said you look at the broad market, but what is it that you're using? What resources or information are you going to choose a specific stock to go and short or to go long doing that?
Well, we started early off and saw that the coronavirus is a big threat to the markets. And we took out big shorting positions on most of the consumption industries. So our strategy was going out, actually taking big short positions on real estate investment trusts in the property industry, especially to those companies that have exposure to retail. As we expected, if there's some sort of supply shock from China or demand goes down because of the fear of the infections of coronavirus. We thought people would stay home. So that would result in the ones in the shops, and the shops won't be able to pay their rent. So that was our thought process around shorting the property sector. Then also we shorted a lot of financial institutions, because obviously if people can't pay back their loans, the banks can't make any money. So we shorted a couple of banks as well. Then also around the drama with the supply shock from the oil price that dropped, that had a significant effect on the Sasol share price. We shorted Sasol there as well. That was, I think, the only specific company that we thought of on shorting. Then on the longing positions, we went into gold, because gold is denominated in dollars, so it's a bit of a hedge against the depreciation of the rand, and also it's like it works, it complements also your shorting of the financial sector, because those tend to trade in separate directions. So yeah, and gold is seen as a safe haven, so we thought like the gold price would go up, and because we can't really invest into solid gold actually, or even in an exchange traded fund, we went with the gold mines, because that was our best approach that we could take on gold.
Fantastic, man. Josh, thanks so much for that detail. Now, so for those of you that are just joining us, welcome to our Q&A. We're having right now with the winners, the March winners of the university competition. If you are joining us and have not participated in the investment challenge yet, it's not too late. You're welcome to go and register on that website that's on our scroller below, university.jse.co.za. I'd like to also state up front here that none of this that any of our winners or myself are talking is advice for the real market. This is a JSE investment challenge competition. We're playing with virtual money. So the participants can take different ideas and strategies and try and implement them, but everything is virtual. So, you know, they've got nothing to lose as far as real money goes. So please do understand that none of this is advice, and we are not telling you to go out there in the market and actually trade these physical shares or stocks out there. So I would like to then just go on to you, Daniel. You obviously learning from your brother Joshua, and you learning the ropes on how to do things. What has been the key things that you think you've learned in the first 1 month from your brother that would help you going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me personally, the financial world has also always been a bit scary, because my interests were mostly into medicine. And at the beginning of this competition, me and my brother agreed that this is solely for the purpose of learning. And I think just learning the terms and how to invest and how to make money out of the stock market, such as learning how to long, or what long even is, what shorting is, and the different instruments you use to do that, has been great for me to learn how everything works. And I think the second most important thing, that's all technical, but I think for me, what I can advise for other people is that it always seems scary going into something you don't know anything about. But just identify people living close to you that knows a bit more than you do, and just start learning from them, because at the end of the day, it's not as scary as you might think. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic, Daniel. And obviously, being in the medical field, you would have maybe, and I suppose over time, obviously you're just learning right now, but over time, you could have a more inside knowledge into those actual companies that are in the medical industry within the JSE, that are on the JSE, and it probably would be to your big advantage to be able to go and trade those shares. Have you looked at buying any medical companies as of now as part of your team strategy?
Yeah, we are actually in healthcare, as that is what I study, and I would like to learn about the value creation in the healthcare sector. So that includes companies such as hospital groups and pharmaceuticals such as Mediclinic or Netcare or what have you. So yeah, I think for me, just learning about the value creation going forward in my life is a great asset to have.
Okay. Fantastic. And Joshua, you talked about analyzing the moment and where are we in the current state. So here's probably putting you on the spot, but those university students that are currently watching and are playing the game, it's not really giving away your secrets here, but where do you see the next 1 month? What is going to be taking place? Where do you envisage the markets? Are we looking at higher prices, or going back to the lows of March?
Rolf, I don't really care for giving away secrets. I mean, we're in this to learn. So I can gladly declare, like we, as Daniel said, we're in the medical sector, which is a bit more value or a long-term perspective, because solely for the technical reasons that we feel like in the future, and especially after our COVID shone a light on the shortage of healthcare in the world, and how our infrastructure isn't fit to handle a pandemic such as this. We feel there's a lot of investment that will flow into the healthcare sector, and taking up shares now at a discount in those healthcare companies, especially in the hospital groups, could maybe pose a potential opportunity to maybe receive rights issue that could allow you to buy shares at a discount in these healthcare groups, these hospital groups, because we believe maybe they could have a big capex rollout as a result of the COVID. And they would need financing for that, and maybe go to the capital markets to raise that money, and then the right would give us a preemptive opportunity to buy those shares at a discount. Then further, in the short term, we think if we come out, it all depends on what happens with the lockdown, what happens with our COVID numbers, I think, because with uncertainty, it's difficult to see where we're going now. I think one day you can make a good call, the other day you can make a negative. It's bad. I think yesterday one of the team passed us by 20%, and today I see they're behind us again. So, I mean, especially with these instruments that we're trading that work on leverage, one day up, the next day you're down. So, at the moment, I'm a bit uncertain. I think we're a bit uncertain. We're short on financials, short on real estate still, long on gold because of the uncertainty, and gold can give some sort of security. And we're also long on some companies that earn their money in dollars to hedge us against the depreciation of the rand, or the possibility of that. So yeah, I think it's very uncertain. I'm not as certain as I was a month ago when we started the game, because a month ago fear was easy to see as bad as it is. But at the moment, I think everyone's starting to become hopeful, and I really hope we could stay hopeful and we come out of this lockdown positive, hopefully.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for that, man. That's fantastic. It's lovely to hear the nitty-gritty, the insight into what exactly you as a team are doing. We've got a question here from Mangisa. He's saying to us he would love to join, but he's concerned about the fact that as a team, it will be difficult to catch up. What would you say to that, Joshua, as far as catching up a team? I mean, you just talked about how the team jumps so quickly up and down. Do you really think it's so difficult to be able to catch you guys now?
Definitely not. It's definitely not difficult to catch us up. I think I just checked before we started the call. The team who's actually leading this month, I think, made 60% return already within less than a week. So it's not late to get in because of the leveraged instruments that we have access to. It's very easy to catch up, and you can make one good trade and be in the money. So yeah, it's definitely not too late to join.
Fantastic. So those that you out there that are listening and want to join, go grab a team, find somebody, and you guys will be able to participate. And I think it's a fantastic time right now to be able to actually look into the market. If you've got extra time on your hands, spend some time on our website and start trading and just learn. And as you can see, somebody that's in the medical field, that's still wanting to understand the stock market. And I think it's vitally important, because at the end of the day, hopefully we all earn some money somehow, whatever profession we are doing, and we can still go and be able to make decisions with our finance, and hopefully it will help us in good stead going forward and create wealth for all of us. Joshua, I'd like to go over to you about as far as money management goes. You can, in this game, you can spend up to 20% in your portfolio on one particular instrument. That's when or 20% in shares and 10% in exchange traded funds. So my question to you is do you spend that entire lot amount, or are you very conservative as a team? Are you guys doing 10%, 5%? What is your allocation when it comes to money management?
So we don't really have a big policy around that. I think we try to employ as much cash as we have, because if you're not in the market, you're not making or losing money. So as we see it as a learning opportunity, we would try to put almost all our cash into the market. We don't really like to hold cash. However, because the futures is a contract, you don't really buy it with a nominal amount. You put up an initial margin, which takes a piece of cash out of your account and holds it as security if the trade goes against you. That your cash balance moves a lot. And I think even once last month we had a major move down, and our cash balance was from 200,000 down to zero because of the initial margin call up.
Okay.
So yeah, we try to employ everything.
Great. We'd like to just take it back to the studios for a quick ad break. Well, welcome back. It's a great pleasure, and thank you, Joshua and Daniel, for taking your time out. When you've got people hot on your heels right now, as you guys are with the leaderboard, you want to be making sure you're making the right calls. How much time do you guys actually spend analyzing the stock market on a daily basis currently?
What is this?
So we don't spend too much time. We once a week, maybe on a Saturday, we talk about it for 2 hours. We check the ShareNet daily every day that comes through. It's an email that ShareNet sends out with like a market summary at 8 o'clock every evening. We check that out. As I said, we take a bit of a passive approach that I think allows us, keeps us a bit unemotional about our trades and makes us think a bit more than actually acting. And sometimes that has saved us a lot, because we just don't have time to trade it. Sometimes something went against us, but just because we didn't have time to trade it, the next day it went up again. So it helped us in some circumstances. So yeah, we talk about it a lot more, think about it a lot more than we actually physically trade.
Fantastic, man. The amazing part is that and a lot of you might not even realize, is that there's some great prizes that are up for grabs. There's the monthly prizes, which you guys, Josh and Daniel, have actually won. But then there's the annual prizes that we have every year, where it's 25,000 Rand for the top team and an all expenses paid trip to an international stock exchange. So I'd like to encourage all of you that are listening today, go out there and spread the news. I think it's so important that we should take financial literacy upon our own shoulders and actually go out there and spread the news to those of our friends and family members and just our colleagues and especially those of you that are students that are listening. Go and tell as many people out there that they can participate, they can still register, they can still qualify for the annual game, for the prizes, a trip overseas. I mean, last year they went to the New York Stock Exchange, and each year it's a different destination. So I would like to really encourage you that are listening to really make it a point, even while you're in lockdown, to go and just give them the website, your friends, university.jse.co.za, and get them to go and register, because it's a fantastic opportunity for us to go and learn about the markets and not really lose, not at all lose any of our actual real money. And I think that's so important. It's far easier to go and practice with the virtual money than it is to with your real money. And you don't want to be making mistakes upfront immediately when you go and get that extra income and now you want to go put it in the market. So there was a question about how do I buy shares? If you want to buy real shares, you'll be going through a stockbroker. But I'd highly encourage you, if you are a university student, start with the investment challenge game, register today, and it'll stand you in good stead for going forward. So I'd just like to look at more of the questions. I've got another one about when it comes to selling. Joshua, how do you decide on when to sell? Because do you sell when you're in profit at 20%, 10%? When you're running a loss, are you getting out after 5% loss? What is your sell strategy when you need to get out?
I don't think we don't really have a big stop loss or anything like that in place. However, if something, we don't want to trade against the trend. So we sell when we see like something went down 20%, it's not coming back. We try to sell, and then when we see it's going down, we literally turn around and short it. If suddenly we long a stock, we see it's been going down 20%, we turn around and short it, and then make money on as it keeps going down. I don't really sell. We don't sell when things are going up. I mean, we don't have to. If something's running, you can keep it on running. And as I said, we take a passive approach. So we'll revise it every week and see whether we want to sell or not. We try to learn as much from the movements.
Fantastic. And so, obviously you're saying, talking about the trend, how do you know when a stock is in a trend? Just for the fact that it's actually flown down 20%, is that all it needs for you to decide that the trend's changed, or what else? How would you analyze a stock to say that the trend is down or the trend is up?
So as I said earlier, I received I'm subscribed to the ShareNet Daily that comes through every evening, and there it says it has like two columns, a bit in the middle of the email that gives you the major highs or the big movements in the day, so the major ups and the major downs, and then from that I just see which company is up there every day. If it goes up every day for like 5 days, then I'll go long on it. If we see it goes down for a couple of days, we short it. So, but mostly we don't really go in too many stocks. As I said, we take a bit of a much more macroeconomic approach, rather shorting industry. So we set up a type of index rather than choosing a specific stock and trading it.
Fantastic. I see a question here. It says, sounds like you're quite active buying and selling. Does the fees hurt you trading in and out? How would you answer that?
Yes, especially because we're taking a passive approach. Fees is definitely something we think about, and the passive approach is helping us with that. So because we don't sell every single day and buy every day, some of the stocks we hold for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Some shorts we even hold for a month or whatever. So we try not to trade too many times. As Ben Graham said, you can't really speculate or trade because the transaction fees really get you on your return.
Yeah, right. And there was one question up at the top there wanting to know. In fact, here's another one talking about the fact that how do you learn more about it, and maybe that can talk about your actual team name. You talk about FinChat representative, so I know you're doing a project around learning more. Maybe you could just explain how you are learning more about the stock market.
Yeah, so FinChat is a company that I started with some mates of mine who we really want to try and expose a lot of individuals to the financial sector, especially students, because there's a big gap to the financial literacy of a lot of students, even students studying BCom in the commercial space. And he said that as a result of that lack of exposure, they can't even perform in their studies. So we started a company that focuses on learning from professionals in business and from those who are experienced in the business. And we started this company. We have discussion group and podcast and Instagram page and a LinkedIn to get people involved in finance, get them talking, get them to learn from other people, get the students talking. So the FinChat representative is exactly what my brother and I am doing. We're learning. I'm mentoring a bit through this journey of learning of the financial markets. But yeah, if we learn, I really believe in learning from other people, and everyone has time to read different things. So to discuss monetary and fiscal policy with your one mate and discussing maybe the oil price war with another really creates value for yourself. So we really wanted to harness that discussion. And that's why we started FinChat. We also have an Instagram account where we post short bite-sized information pieces to help people learn, make it simple for them to understand simple things. We also post a bit longer opinion and technical-based reports on LinkedIn. I think we've gotten good feedback from that as well.
Fantastic, Josh. No, that's lovely to hear, man. It's wonderful to see you playing your part in actually helping create a financial literate society. And so, kudos to you to actually be doing this. And it's really lovely to see that you're taking what you're learning and applying it in the investment challenge game. Are there anyone that you in particular that you admire when it comes to investment? Or maybe I'll ask you, Daniel, has your brother given you any ideas who you should be following out there that is an expert in the stock market?
To be totally honest, because I'm so new in this world, my brother has been mentoring me mostly. So the person I would say I follow most is my brother Joshua. It's just because I'm very new in this space, and I think with us two being so close, it's been a fantastic tool to utilize to learn more, to invest in my own future.
Fantastic. And Josh, obviously you've been doing this for a number of years. So who have you been looking up to? Who are the gurus out there that you would maybe recommend for people to go out there and follow and just learn some of their ideas on the stock market?
So I've been following. I love podcasts, and we also have a FinChat podcast. And the podcast that I love to follow is Masters in Business, which is the interviewer is Barry Ritholtz. I love the way they talk about a wide range of topics, including monetary policy and the financial markets. I think he was on a trading desk for a big part of his career. I also follow Robert Kiyosaki. He's a Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. I think he has good insight into personal finance and financial literacy. Then also I love talking to my lecturers, getting there, trying to get all their knowledge that I can. Also, my parents, my father is investment bank, and my mom is also a chartered accountant, and trying to learn from them. So I think it's by taking the resources that you have at hand and trying to make the most of it. You have to invest in yourself and try to find who you think has sound opinions, and try to think what they think about and why they think about it. And I think maybe the most important thing is thinking for yourself, not just following someone else's opinion, but actually listening to what people say, and putting it on a shelf and then revisit it and think about it and try to form your own opinions, and try to back yourself. And I think that's why the investment challenge is such a great opportunity, because you can actually apply those ideas and see if it works out. And if your ideas don't work out, learn from that opportunity. And if it does work out, well, you were right. So just keep on learning.
Fantastic. And maybe I'm still old school, but I always love looking into the books. You talked about podcasts, and obviously a new generation, that's obviously very easy accessible. But as far as books goes, is there any particular author that you would actually recommend people want to look at? Josh?
So I don't read specific authors. I mostly want to try and introduce myself to new industries and things. So I don't read specific authors. I like reading up on personal finance things, or new things like I recently read Blockchain Revolution. I also read Rich Dad Poor Dad was quite a good one for me, and also the follow-up on that by Robert Kiyosaki. What was it called again? His new book, which explained a bit around how the financial markets is doomed, as he called it. I think finding like a niche or whatever you are interested in reading about that is more important than following an author from us, in my personal opinion. So I read a wide range of authors.
Fantastic, man. Thank you so much, Josh, for that. And so, I would like to ask both of you, one thing that you would really encourage, advice really, as to what advice would you give teams out there? And both you and Daniel, what advice would you give those that are busy participating? They look at your percentage, 62% return so far. What would you say to them, and advice that you would give? Both of you, I'd start with you, Daniel. What would you tell them to try and do?
I'd just say to utilize the tools that you have at hand. Maybe if one of your parents is into finance, maybe ask their opinion on what you do. Even going to your let's say accounting teacher and ask them what they think, and just utilizing the tools that you have at hand, because that's what I mainly do.
Fantastic. And you, Josh, what would you say to those teams? Some of them might be despondent. Maybe they've got negative returns. What would you say to them?
I mean, as I said, one day you're up, the next day you're down. Just try and think about the positions you take, why you do it. Don't always follow what other people say. But experiment with it. Sometimes I've even, my brother and I, even at the beginning, we made a joke. A portion of our portfolio, we just made random positions to see what happens. And some of them paid off, some of them didn't. So, I mean, trading in the short term is not based on effective markets or fundamentals. So it's more about learning what the effect of news is on a specific share price or on a market price, and what the monetary flow around that. What's the impact of the monetary flow around a certain market or a certain company? So try to teach yourself through this. Don't be if you are down, don't give up. I mean, because of the futures and things, you can easily make it back. Try to keep it with. If you want to leverage your returns, penny stocks and derivatives are a great tool to trade, because you can get more return, more bang for your buck, if I can say that. But sure, just keep on going, learn. Don't do it for the result, do it for the experience.
Fantastic. So I would just like to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you shortly to wrap up. Great. Thank you so much for those who have been listening with us today. We would really like to thank you for actually taking the time out. I know that we're all in lockdown currently, but for those of you that have not participated yet in the investment challenge, this is open to any university-going student, both whether you're at college or at university. As long as it's higher education, you can register on our platform, university.jse.co.za. We would encourage you to do so. Spread the news and get started. I'd also like to say to those out there that are at high school, there is a high school competition as well. I know today we've only been talking about university, but there is a high school competition, so we do encourage you to do that. And yeah, your final words to you, Josh.
I just think good luck to everyone, and I hope you have a great time. Thanks so much, Ralph, for this opportunity. If anyone wants to check out FinChat, you can follow us on LinkedIn or on Instagram to get involved. And yeah, guys, invest in your experience, invest in your learning, because that will pay off a lot more than a paycheck. So invest in yourself. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Rolf.
Daniel, your last words?
Oh yeah, just for everybody out there, just try to learn as much as you can. And as Joshua said, just invest in yourself, invest in your own future, and just try to learn as much as possible, because it is a tool that's going to help you in your own future. But yeah, thank you for having us.
Great, guys. Well, that's it. We're going to be wrapping up now. If there are questions that haven't been answered, we will get back to you. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Good luck to you guys at FinChat for keeping up on top of the scoreboard. I know it's going to be a big challenge. The markets are pretty volatile, and we just look forward to having the next winners on this program. So thank you so much. All the best, and take care for today.
Thanks, Rolf. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.